Good afternoon, 7th of August 2020. Now, this video is for the difference between the crew management contract and the ship management contract. And some flags we are obliged to use the crew management contract like in the flag of convenience ships, because this is a very transparent system whereby the crew management and the ship management is completely separated. In other flags, which they don't really differentiate things, the question is how to complicate things, then we must use the ship management contract in order to be a crew manager. That's, for example, the Spanish flag. So, but whether it is shipman A or crewman A and shipman B and crewman B, it's always the same. It's either net A, B, lump sum. So this is very important factor I wanted to speak about, because no one really talks about the lump sum factor and the net at cost factor, where there is no rebate or rebates go to the owner. And this is very important area that I want to talk about, because this coronavirus cloud, it really did make things very clear, very digital, and perhaps by this video I can really show how it really is important that the maritime industry is at cost net, not lump sum. Lump sum perhaps it was before, when we had margins and that everything was splendid, but now that the times are harder and harder, and we must really be competitive. So this goes all the way from the bareboat, charter, to the crew management, travel, training, ITFs, and so on. And so let's go from the beginning to say that this crewman A, I will talk from now just about the crewman, not to complicate things with the shipman. But the most important thing is that the crewman contract has been really identified by BINCO, and it is very important one contract type. Maritime industry has really defined the contract, and the crewman is a standard now throughout the world. Imagine if we had one enlistment contract for all humans ashore. Well, we have done that at sea already. You see, people at shore are just like millions years behind us. So, but let's talk about us in the crew management A. So now it has been approved by all maritime bodies, and all suppliers, ship owners, we have to adapt to this. All the flags really accept this type of contract. The class, P&I, insurance, medical examinations, verification. This is very important because it does link the flag towards the medical approved doctor and examinations. And there are many critical aspects in this crewman contract that are very, very important, very simple, like cost control, quarterly budgets, deviations of budgets, asking for information from ship owners regarding movement of funds, defining what is really a conflict of interest, defining what it is really the accounts, how the accounts must be specific for each ship owner, and this grants security to all crew members that the money is going to be exclusively locked in one account that can be auditable anytime. Those are very, very little aspects, but all of them together are very, very important for you to understand, dear ship owner, that it is much better to have a cost contract than a lump sum contract. Now, let's go to the cost. Cost of pre-coronavirus and after have changed considerably. These have decreased around 25%. Why? Because there is a huge surplus of crew available. Why? Because also before a lot of costs were covered in a lump sum way, and that, for example, we had even in the ITF agreements, we have cadet to officer, rating to officer schemes, we have welfare funds. There is a lot of hidden miscellaneous costs that you are paying more than you should, but in reality, if these were covered under a crewman contract, all these rebates would be refunded to your accounts, whilst perhaps these cadets that are so good suddenly end up as officers, and the ship manager takes credit of them and leaves with nothing to ship owner, plus also gets the grants from ITF, plus also the welfare fund or whatever, any other rebates, like in travel, like in even if they go to their own schools of third parties. Who knows how much is the school worth? Who knows how much is worth its course? And this is really a tendency that doing, for example, a course like I have seen in many other countries that is specific for the owner, or is it specific for the manager or whom other party there is? And so that who pays this course that is specific for the owner? And that's what you can have at net, really crewman budget. And I'm very fond of having this 2% fee. That's all. Everything is at cost, rebates to ship owner. Why? Because most of these lump sum contracts before coronavirus had about 25%. I've seen a lot of owners contacting us because they were having a budget of a ship of $1 million, whilst in Candina net it was 750,000. Well, if we do have to adjust in this or that circumstance, the wage of the travel, because the trade of the ship, whatever, we will always ask for permission, as it is very clearly specified in the crewman contract, and with the permission of the ship owner, of course, we could increase the budget if the certain crew required to have dollar, euro, travel, whatever miscellaneous cost that happens to go in the way, like now PCRs, tests, hotels, this kind of extra cost, additional cost, we have to ask permission for. So in reality, it is about a 25% difference of budget from the lump sum to the net. Could be 20, could be 15. Yes, well, if you compare for about 10 ships, one ship each is a big amount of money. Now, there is a lot of new countries that are supplying crew, and that the existing countries have not been able to cope with this coronavirus, either because they have a huge population of young humans, because they have really identified the strategic training for seafarers, because maritime sector is strategic. We are the ants of the transport ants, so everything can stop in the ant world, but the transport workers, we're always working. I mean, we never stop. We are the last ones, even after doctors and after nurses, because we cannot stop the supply. So that a lot of new countries have identified this. I hope that with these videos, more countries do join the maritime sector. We can do it very simply. We can have a rating to officer scheme, that it is very Eastern, say, ex-Soviet Union systems, or British systems, or Dutch systems, and these are very, very useful. In India, they are doing a great job regarding this. We can do also the basic training for the youngsters to enter into our maritime sector. They will always have jobs ashore, and this is very important nowadays to have these new sources of crewing available. We have, for example, in the net crewman system, the Indian, we compare to the Filipinos. In the Indian wage scales, there is no discounts of the government. In the Filipinos, it's 20%. So if we pay, say, $1,800 to an AB, able seaman or a motorman, oiler, then, for example, we have $360 from the ship owner that go towards the Filipino government. I mean, I hope that they solve this situation, because if not, slowly all the new supply side of crew will go towards gross equals net. This is really a reality nowadays, and that by doing this kind of videos, going net is always defending each dollar of the ship owner. It goes to the pocket of the seafarer or to the net activity of the transport of the ship, and this is very, very important. In that way, we can defend the cost constantly towards the ship owner's pocket, because in reality, if we start paying lump sum fees, we don't really have a focus towards the budget. And these new countries are really working very well indeed, and they will focus towards the long-term business in the shipping. Unfortunately, other countries pay a lot of unemployment benefits, but do not recycle those crew members. Let's say that our sector has 3 million seafarers, 1.5 on board, 1.5 ashore, and we are really focusing very hardly towards helping ship owners have logistics and operational cost and supply long term, because now with coronavirus it is becoming more local crewing, and it is becoming very easy to adapt to these changes under the net Crewman A system. Because if you have a lump sum, for example, that the top are Ukrainians and the ratings Filipinos, and you have some kind of problem, then you are tied. You cannot really adapt to the new situations, and adapting is survival. This is very important. A lot of tendencies now are towards having multinational crews. Before, it was not so much. So if we had a lump sum of these nationalities, then the Crewman A system of at cost really helps you to adapt to these new nationalities. So it's not only the cost, it's also the operational side of this coronavirus, which is really having a huge risk effect. Because if you cannot supply these nationalities, then you are done. So multinational crewing, it is becoming more spread due to the risk of coronavirus reliefs, and of one nationality, it is really getting out of the system. Today, I don't know about tomorrow. Perhaps if India or any other countries are able to supply huge quality of seafarers and a very reasonable cost, net equal gross, so perhaps we can go back to one nationality. But as we have seen, this has really huge risks. Perhaps they can get into the training, perhaps they can get into the visas, perhaps they can get into the travel, perhaps they can get into the transport, having the seafarers for free, and perhaps people will identify in the world that the seafarers are the most important sector in the world. It's like the ants. You see, the transport ants never stop working. It's like you don't have to think so much. And ship owners are really, you are the core of the society, because 90% is supplied by you. So let's try to work it so that we explain here the shipman and the Crewman A systems. Now, the cost control is not only the system that we have here transparently identified. It is also the travel. Then having a crewman contract has a direct impact in savings. So we can improve also the cover of the insurance. We can improve the health prevention constantly. We can provide you with all kinds of tests and all kinds of improvements so that the crew on board can have access to these systems. And we can be disruptive. For example, we can go towards bank transfers. In the future, probably we will call it digital transfers. We can go to Bitcoin. We can go to all kind of digital currencies to make transfers at zero cost and instantly. We can go to all kind of disruptor suppliers. For example, insurance, there is one called, I think it's Lemonade. They are making disruptive insurance. Yes, we are going to ask them for a quote. We are going to ask all kind of suppliers that are disruptive. Yes, we are watching very, very careful this kind of disruptive suppliers constantly, and they are going to be really a factor of growth and of competitive advantage for the ship owners. Also, having a cost budget provides economies of scale to disrupt better and, for example, negotiate, which I love, to improve insurance, transfer, and so on constantly to add value, let's say at a 2% fee. So it's not a bad deal. Long-term crew management, crew management is net, so that having a long-term proposal like this net grants survival of the fittest. Yes, because we are always the fittest at cost, and as I mentioned, also at cover. And then therefore ship owners will last longer. If ship owners last longer, then we crew management companies last longer, and you seafarer will have a long-term career. Perhaps we all don't earn so much as before, but perhaps if we are happy, it doesn't really matter, does it? Well, at least not for me. I hope for you not too, because this is what we are experiencing nowadays. That the virus really has put clear photo of who is happy and who is not. And I am very happy to have a long-term business stability, prospects of growth. I look forward to then disrupting constantly and continuously at this Crewman A cost basis, and so that we can improve the service, provide value, and then have a stability of you, local crew, because it is very important you understand that if we are working in the Crewman A system, it is because we believe in this, we focus in this. If, for example, another company charges $2,000 for your wage and you are getting $1,600, would you be happy? No. Then this is what we are not going to cover in the cloud of the Crewman B or Shipman B contract. The service is very important, and we will always adapt to keep your €1,600 wage continually and constantly, irrespective of currency changes, supply of crews, because we need long-term cooperation from you ship owner, from you seafarer. We are just in the middle getting a 2%, but we are going to fight very strongly, to fight this. Also, COVID has shown that the lump sum nationalities is the wrong strategy. Those that had very nice policies, these policies have proved wrong. And so we are, I also made another video about the flags that I hope that please would, I would really love that you pass this to the flags, because I've seen everybody talk about this COVID, but now this is one of the implications of Crewman A cost basis, is that what can we provide to society, because we are getting so much out of society. And one of the things is that I see there is a gap, a health gap. Now everybody is talking about coronavirus, but I have not seen reality. The flag states talk about the health of the seafarers, for example, Panama, Singapore, Bahamas, Bermuda, Cyprus, Malta, all these Madeira flags. I have not seen really these flags worried so much about the health of the seafarers, which they have the right to have the PCR test, they have the right to have a health environment on board, and they have the right to be respected the length of the contracts of the seafarers, so that in case there is any kind of say extension of the contracts, we should be able to break and bring reliefs. I have not seen any action from these flags towards the embassies or the countries. Well, I'm not going to talk about the countries because it's not a Crewman A conflict, but it could be as improving the service from the government. And always, please, the flags have to work towards the health of the seafarers. And of course, this is to provide the service to the ship owner. So we can identify in the Crewman A what actions we are doing. We are passing the cost. Sometimes, like this one, health of your seafarers and your flag is not a cost, it's not a fee, it's for free. Now, let's go now to the next and last point. I believe that I had somewhere written in my notepads. And so, disrupting, it is a reality. Cost, it is a reality. Transparency is this reality. And let me show to you how we can do this for free. For example, in a digital way. How is it possible nowadays to have digital competitive advantage and disruption? Very simple and free. Well, this is the means. This is the video. So now this is the proof that it really does work. I will later make another video explaining this Crewman A advantages for seafarers, because I believe that they really do not understand so well, and that perhaps it is my fault that I did not explain this before. But when you join a ship, you have to ask whether it is a lump sum or not lump sum, because then you will know that the long-term employment on board that ship will have more stability, because there is fewer risk. If the net equals to the gross, always if it is a disruptive contract by ship owner to crew management company, no one in between getting a slice of your wage, then of course you are having a longer term view of your employment stability, because that's what we all want. We want to make rosters so that the crew can stay on board. We want to make rosters between two ships. We need 3 chief engineers, 3 cooks, 3 captains, blah, blah, blah. Depending on the trade, perhaps if we can afford, we can have 4, but then the wages could not be so big. So this is what we are doing, what we are planning, net always towards the ship owner, and that we can have really the best insurance for you. Like if there is any disruptive insurance, the best transfer for you. Now we're paying $19 per transfer. Hopefully soon we will be paying 0 and you will have the money instantly. We are improving in the health so that we can have PCR tests on board, and that we can make you travel safer, and we can improve much more in all kinds of miscellaneous costs in the budget. And of course, if the ship, if for example this container of $900,000 or $950,000 per year, we can do that for $750. Depends the type of ship, but going net always, it is a huge competitive advantage for ship owner, and also does make us possibility to adapt and disrupt. And I hope also this video not only is for the seafarers, but it is really mostly taken note by ship owners, because unfortunately it has arrived the day that our database of seafarers is so big that we have economies of scale. So we can provide this transparently to you. This is our long-term goal in Candina. And thank you very much indeed. Have a pleasant weekend. Bye.